Hey, Fanboy Nation.
This is your pal Daffy Duck, and you're watching.
We're watching Fanboy.
A fanboy, etc.
Fanboy Nation.
Dot, I assume Tom.
This morning, I have the great pleasure of speaking with African-born American creator whose graphic novels are now being translated into a series for HBO Max and Cartoon Networks. Roye Okupe, how are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm honored to be here. Excited to dive into it. So yeah, let's get it.
Listen, I'm excited for you. Congratulations. You're living the ultimate immigrant story of coming to the United States. In West Africa, North Africa, the Middle East, and the rest of Asia, we have 5 careers. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but it's some form of science. Pharmacist, doctor,
engineer.
Engineer is the next one, some sort of engineering or architecture. Law, exactly. Business is the tolerable one. And then where Roy and I are is the shame of the family until you make it. And then once you make it, everybody knows you and loves you.
You hit the nail on the head, man. Like I'm just cracking up here because, true awards, man. But yeah, it's funny because as I laugh, I have to say that from the ages of when I was born to maybe 16, that was the truth. But as soon as I moved over here to the United States, my dad actually was the one that encouraged me to go into comics and animation. Like literally, he was like, look, I've seen you watch all these different things growing up, like cartoons, animation. How about you figure out a way to make money from it? And then obviously my mom, who's been very supportive of whatever I do, also just gave me that confidence, to be able to say that, look, man, you can do this and we believe in you. And I have to say, without my parents giving me the confidence, the resources, and the mentorship to be able to move forward with this, I wouldn't be here today.
See, that's fantastic, because if you were still back home, you have your 6 aunts and grandma and everybody. What are you wasting your time on this for?
I know, right? I'd probably be a lawyer or a doctor. Hey, so it's a fair trade. Yeah. I'm happy where I am.
I know the feeling. To give you an example, a friend of mine who's also Iranian had to get his master's degree from MIT in engineering before he could move on to film and do what he really wanted to do. So.
Same here. I have a master's in computer science.
I think that's the only way we can go and do what we want, is that we have to get a minimum of a master's degree first before we could go and venture into what we want. Because when my dad was still around, it was always I had a master's degree, never what I was doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but congratulations, everything being adapted, HBO Max, Cartoon Network.
Yes.
This is a very immigrant story on your part. You come over to the United States. You're sitting here. You're allowed to live the dream that you wanted to, which is very difficult in the old world because there's so many eyes on you, and everybody is such a traditionalist telling you it's a bad idea to follow those dreams. How important was it for you to not only have those dreams and succeed with them, but also tell those stories of Nigeria?
To me, it's very important because, growing up, I didn't have a lot of people that were Nigerian or African based that I could look up to in terms of comic book writers, TV directors, animators. And, for me, it was something that I grew up believing that wasn't meant for me because I wasn't able to see it. A lot of times people focus on representation on the pages, on screen. But what I feel like is equally, or dare I say more important, is representation behind the scenes. The people that are actually producing, the people that are actually drawing, writing, directing, executive producing, funding, for instance, because I think that goes a longer way. And to be in this position now where we've had the 10-book Dark Horse deal, which was announced in 2021, and then to go from there to now having one of those books being adapted as an animated series, Iyanu, Child of Wonder by HBO Max and Cartoon Network, with a huge company like Lion Forge Animation producing, for people that don't know, Lion Forge won the Oscar for Hair Love. it's like you said, it's a dream come true. And what I get to do with this success now is be able to inspire other people coming behind me, for them to know that they can also do it, for them to be able to see where I've come. Because I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not the smartest guy, I'm not the best writer, I'm not the best producer. But for me, what I've always leaned on is this strong belief in myself, working hard, surrounding myself with a great team, and just doing whatever it takes to achieve your goals and your dreams. And that's one of the reasons why, I'm here talking to you today. And I hope that people listening to this, from whatever part of the world that they are, whether you are American, you're British, you're Nigerian, you're Cameroonian, Iranian, whatever it is, I always say that people have something that's inside of them that they want to share with the world. And I can only hope that if you see where I've been able to get to with the resources that I've had, all I can do is inspire you to be able to take the next step in your journey and move forward with what it is that you're dreaming about to achieve.
Roy, what I'm really most impressed with your work is that you just tell good stories. You didn't have to sit there and say, okay, we need an African character from Nigeria for this. We need someone from Cameroon over here. Oh, okay, we're going to have an Ethiopian protagonist over here, and then a South African antagonist over here. You just tell a good story in a place that's relatable. And people forget that, this world is a huge world, but human interaction, humanity is still humanity. We all bleed, we all cry, we all have search for love and family and everything else, without it having to be this, oh, well, we have to put somebody of this ethnic identity in just to make sure that the story is told.
I think you hit the nail on the head. To me, I'm very proud of the authenticity that I bring in my comics and soon to be now animation. I'm very proud about the fact that I get to insert Nigerian culture, African culture into these stories. But don't make no mistake, it's the icing on the cake, honestly, for me. Like it's really the ice. Everything starts with story and everything starts with character. I've always been, and I still am, a huge fan of these type of epic, fantastical, huge world building type of stories, like whether it's The Matrix or it's Lord of the Rings, that it's always centered around the character, and a character that we can all root for. I always tell people that I grew up in Nigeria, and I felt I could identify with a character like Peter Parker, even though I wasn't Nigerian or I wasn't white, but he was going to college, he was getting bullied, and then he got powers, and he had to figure out a way to juxtapose that with going to school. And that, for me, as a 12-year-old, 13-year-old boy, was something that I could see myself in. So this is what I've tried to do in my characters, where I don't shy away from authenticity, but at the same time, I create them from a global audience. And everything always boils down to character. If you look at all the stories we released so far, EXO, which is a afrofuturist sci-fi superhero story that takes place in Lagos, Nigeria, where I was born and raised. At the heart of that story, it's a story about forgiveness and how character Wale is struggling with forgiveness for his father, and until he does that, he can't really rise to be the hero he was always meant to be. Look at Malika, Warrior Queen, a story that takes place in pre-colonial West Africa that follows, Malika as she tries to deal with the effects of an expanding empire. For that one, the theme is in the subtitle, Warrior Queen. These things don't necessarily always mesh. Like, when do you fight as opposed to when do you be diplomatic? You don't want to be a punk, but at the same time, you don't want to be too aggressive. And I relate that to a story that we can all relate to it right now, where it's like, am I, a father or a father or a business owner? Like, those two things are not necessarily what defines me. Is how I handle both of them and how I bring them together. And how do I be a good father, but at the same time be a good business owner? Those are hard things to balance, and that's what you see Malika deal with, or even Iyanu, Child of Wonder, the show that has been adapted by that's going to be adapted by HBO Max and Cartoon Network. It's really a story at the end of the day about the light that's inside you and the fact that it's not meant for only you. It's actually for everybody else that surrounds you. A lot of times, we grow up thinking our talents are supposed to make us rich, make us better, make us popular, but it's really about how it affects the next person. Like, that's why you're given a gift, is to share it with the world and spread goodness, unity, inspiration, and use that to uplift other people. And that's what Iyanu's journey is all about. So again, these are all very character-driven stories and characters that are meant for everybody and the global audience.
Now we hear the baby in the background, a little
I'm so
excited. No,
sorry. Oh my
don't listen. You're a father. It's okay. But it leads
God.
to the next question, though. How has your perspective changed from wanting to tell good stories to now wanting to tell good stories as a father for your children?
It's really, really important for me because I have as you can hear, a 15-month-old daughter. And she's absolutely amazing. When you have a child, everything changes. Like literally your whole world changes. And for me, it's really about, for her, like, and her generation, I want them to grow up in a world where it's not an event when an African, comic is made or a TV show is made. It's great to have those things now. When Black Panther gets released, we celebrate it and we're all excited. It's good to have that, but I look forward to the day where it's just like cool and exciting to see, oh, this is a good story. And it's not just, oh, it's an African story that's good, right? Like that's what my hope is that she gets to grow up in an environment that she can see, oh, daddy did this. And if she wants to go that same route, she has a mentor, she has somebody she can look at as an example to say, if he can, I can do it as well. So to me, that's one of the biggest motivating factors for me to create great stories, is so that my daughter can see those stories and see the person that created them and see herself in these stories in a way that can be motivating for her, so that if she does decide to want to do that, and any other child around the world, like they can see an example of the way it's done and the right way, in the right way. So, excuse me.
We have a lot of people here in the United States that will complain about certain things, about the hardships of being here. And I'm not downplaying their difficulty, but there's a difference in your family and my family who immigrated here to the United States, where we know what it's like in the old world, or our parents know what it's like in the old world. And although it might be hard here, it's still better than being in a war zone or in a revolution or dealing with dictatorships and banana republics. What would you say to the people that, third, fourth, fifth generation American that are talking about the hardships here versus the immigrant mindset of coming here and going, look, it might be rough now, but remember what it was like in the old world. That's why we're all here.
That's a fantastic question. Personally, I'm not a big fan of telling people how to feel, because I know that even everybody has different baggage, different backgrounds. It doesn't matter whether you're born in America, Nigeria, and I always hate to compare circumstances. I'm always of the mindset that wherever you are, I think I can't remember who said this, it's like, do what you can where you are with what you have. There's always an opportunity to move forward. Is it more difficult for people in certain places? Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. It's a privilege for me to be here in the United States and have access to the resources that I've had to be able to build the company that I've built. So I'm also in a position of privilege than other people, like you said, who are in war zones or in dictatorships that can't even have the luxury of dreaming about making comics. So there's that reality. But my honest to people would be to always look out for your neighbor at the end of the day. And in a world that's more of a globalized place now with social media, your neighbor isn't just your fellow countryman. Your neighbor is your fellow human being. So I think we should all be at a position where we have empathy for each other, regardless of where we come from, and celebrate our differences. This is one of the reasons why I write certain types of stories, is to be able to infuse these messages into these fantastical and high octane action type of stories. Because at the end of the day, I feel like stories are one of the most it's one of the easiest ways for people to digest some messages that sometimes are very, very hard to digest if we're just having a face-to-face. So I speak to people through my stories. I talk about inequality. I talk about gentrification. I talk about war. I talk about politics. These are things that I don't shy away from. And, I make my opinions known in these books. And that's just my way of communicating with people, because like I said, I always lead with empathy. So even though somebody that's in a better place of privilege is saying certain things, my first question will be to them is that, why do you feel this way? Why do you, why is it that you feel this way? Do you not see that you have this and this and this. But my own, at least the way I've been brought up is we start with empathy first and try to find common ground, and then build up from there, rather than pointing fingers and saying that, oh, you should do this instead of doing this, and see where you are, blah blah blah. I always try to lead with empathy and then try to bring unity and then uplift everybody at the same time.
And the most important thing is we can all blame the British all at once.
Right? You said it, I didn't. That's fine.
We have to make light sometimes. No, but what he said is very poignant and very important. Yeah. You know, and I think because people are so polarized and just want to be heard, that nobody's listening anymore.
Exactly.
And I love that you're in a medium where you have a visual medium, but you have the written word.
Yes.
So we can go back and forth between what is being shown and what is being said. And that was always the beauty of comics.
Yeah, definitely. To me, you know, a lot of people say nowadays that, oh, comics have gotten too political. They've always been political. If you look at things like X-Men, Captain America, it's always been, you know, and then politics is everywhere. You know, even famously, somebody said that if you say that, oh, I'm not into politics, that's in itself is a political statement. You know, so for me, you know, it's important to just be able to hear each other. And again, like I said, I always lean back to the word empathy. We always need to start with empathy for each other. I know it's hard in this world, and you know, this world teaches us now to, you know, basically think about ourselves. You look at our social media, our likes, our shares, it's all about self. And I fall into this trap too sometimes. But at the end of the day, I think empathy is one of the biggest keys to saving our world, is just trying to find common ground, understand each other, embrace our differences, and build from there. And I think comics does that a lot. Like a lot of, if you read and you look at the subtext of, like I said, stories like X-Men, Captain America, you know, what have you, go back in there and read all these comics. At the end of the day, it's all boiled down to different people coming together for a common cause to bring down the bad people.
And Roy, with the comics having influenced your life and you becoming a creator, how significant was it when you got that deal with Dark Horse in 2021, and then following up with that, the announcement from HBO Max and Cartoon Network?
To me, it was almost like a sigh of relief, because a lot of people don't know. Unofficially, I started YouNeek Studios in 2015. Officially in 2016. But I've been trying to break into the entertainment world since 2008. That was when I first created my first animated short. It was extremely terrible. Please don't Google it. But yeah, it's been over about 15 years since I've been really trying to break through. And to get the deal in 2021 for Dark Horse was huge. And then the HBO one, which came about a month ago, which was announced about a month ago, excuse me, was just, you know, it was fantastic. Because, you know, animation, it was my first love. I do love comics. I'm still going to be in comics. So animation is really my first love and the thing that I wanted to do first. So to come full circle, you know, with the comics and to come back to animation is something that I feel very fortunate to be in this position, because it's not always that way for everybody. There's a lot of people trying to get to where I am. So I'm very thankful for where I am. But it's all about, you know, making sure now it's like we continue to create quality, you know, material. Like Iyanu Volume 2 will be coming out in a month. You know, September 13th is when that will be released. So I'm really excited on the heels of the HBO announcement for people to actually not only go back and buy Volume 1, but also, you know, get Volume 2, because obviously before the show comes out in a couple of years, you know, I'm sure people want to see what Iyanu is really about. So it's in stores now, online and in stores everywhere books are sold. So I would encourage people to check out the books. Volume 1 is out now, and Volume 2 will be out in a month. So it'll be a nice primer for before the HBO and Cartoon Network show comes out.
And what would you like to tell 11-year-old Roy that faced the bullying, that faced the notion of, why are you wasting your time with comics and animation? Go play soccer, go do something else. You know, what would you like to tell 11-year-old Roy at this point?
First of all, stay away from soccer because you're not very good. That's the first thing I'll say. But just I'll just tell him to hang in there. And that's the message that I have for anybody else who it may look like you're struggling right now and things are not working out for you. You post that's the stuff that you've been working on for a couple of weeks. You post that online, you get one like, nobody shares it, nobody comments. I've been there. Consistency is key. There's 4 things that have guided my career so far. It's patience, persistence, humility, and hard work. I feel like if you have those 4 things, eventually, things will work out for you more often than not. So that's what I would tell 11-year-old Roy is that, hey, just hang in there, man. Be patient, be persistent, continue to work hard and remain humble. Always be learning. Don't be a jerk to other people. Make sure you honor other people. Make sure you help other people when you can, even though, you may not have all the resources. Just keep moving forward. Keep swimming. Like, I think was it Dory that said that in Finding Nemo? Yes. Just keep swimming.
I like that because, so many people are down on themselves these days and, woe's me, why is it not working out? And all of a sudden, it took you 15 years to be an overnight success.
Yeah, right.
What do you tell the people that are impatient in their trying to achieve success? What would you say to those people that, need to be a little more patient?
Impatience would bring more hurts than you can imagine, because I've been there. I've been impatient and I've signed deals that held the rights to my characters for 2 to 3 years, and I couldn't do anything with them because I was just impatient and I wanted quick money or quick results. So I'll urge you to, really, really, especially as it pertains to people that promise you they can get you things quickly, run away from those people because nothing good happens quickly. It's just the way of the world. Like, things that are great, things that's successful, at least most things, they take time. So you just have to, I know it's hard, don't get me wrong, I've been there. You have to have patience, because the opposite of that is that you can make an impatient decision that can ruin everything, and you can ruin everything in a way that you may not be able to come back. Like I said, I know that because I was in a situation where I almost made a mistake where I wasn't able to come back from. So I would urge them that, look at the big picture and just always remember that good things take time.
That's fantastic. Roy, it's been a pleasure chatting with you today. Is there any idea of a potential release date besides the announcement that was made for the series to HBO Max and Cartoon Network, or is it just all in development at this point?
You're trying to get me in trouble, RC. I cannot say anything right now, but I would say if you follow us on @YouNeek Studios, YOUNWEK and the word studios on social media, you'll be the first to know when we drop that release date. But for now, things are going well. I must say things are going really well, and I can't wait. Like, some of the things that I'm seeing in terms of like artwork, and it's mind blowing. So I would urge you, like I said, in the meantime, check out the comics because the comics are equally as good for Iyanu. But in terms of release date, just keep on watching our channels, and you'll be the first to know.
Beautiful. Roye Okupe, thank you so much for your time. The books can be found at Penguin Random House. Malike, Warrior Queen. I'm going to tease you a little bit about that because you took the first word and then translated it as the third word. From Queen to Warrior Queen. I'm teasing you just a little bit.
Yes, I did.
Iyanu, Child of Wonder. Exo, The Legend of Whale Williams. What's the other? Exo, The Legend of Whale Williams, Volume 2. Windmaker. We've got so many books here to thumb through while we wait for the series. Congratulations on all your success. I can't wait to meet you face to face instead of just over a Zoom call. And then, hopefully it's not Nigerian time where we say 9 o'clock and show up at 10:15.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
I promise it won't be.
Well, then we'll have to call our Egyptian friends and say 9 o'clock, and they'll show up at 1:30.
You said it, I did not.
Oh, I tell Egyptian people all the time that if I want them there at a certain time, I tell them 3 to 4 hours earlier.
Oh my goodness.
Roy, thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure, RC, and I hope I can come back soon.